So Melody may start the.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, welcome to our live stream. Hi guys. Maybe 3 minutes to get more viewers for our live.
So,
Hi guys, welcome to our live stream. And for this roundtable discussion, our special guest this time is Luke. And I'm your old friend Melody. This is our first live stream in 2024. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like if we should get a real round table for this podcast, like so it's no round physically. So yeah, probably we should get a round table.
It's an oval that aspires to be round.
Hi, Brian. Hello, 3D friend. Okay, I sent some.
Hey,
Right.
Brian Vines is in there.
Oh, we got
Reply
Brian.
me.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Let's check your Twitter message.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
If you have seen our roundtable before, you may know what we are doing. And if you are new here, I will briefly introduce the main topic of this live stream. We will discuss some serious or some hot topic or something you care about right now and something funny story. You are welcome to speak out freely with us on the comment. So okay, let's get started on this live stream. Look, let's get started. The first topic. Hey, pros and cons between pop wear and video
Video
real
ray.
and their effect on quality.
Okay. So yeah, so the topic I brought for the evening is there's a lot of back and forth with some of the manufacturers switching over to linear rails, and as we know, a lot of the bargain printers have the POM wheels that they run on, and I want to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of both of them for those that are out there looking at buying printers. Soval actually offers printers set up both ways in the SVO6 and SVO7 lines, and neither one is the best or the worst, but they have their pros and cons, right? So some of the pros of the POM wheels from the manufacturing standpoint is they're less expensive. They just have to machine a bracket with an eccentric wheel so they can be adjusted. It allows for a lot more tolerance in the machines. But there is an added advantage too. So a pro would be those POM wheels, when the machine is moving around and making vibrations, they act as a dampener. This can be very beneficial in print finishes. That's why the early we'll go back to the CR10. It was putting out cleaner surface finish prints than some of the high end models of the time. And part of that was lent to the fact that the POM wheels were doing dampening of the motion as the axis moved around. And then linear rails. I guess I should cover one thing while we're on the POM wheels. They generally have a semi-sealed bearing, so there's not much maintenance to do, and they're not very subject to damage by dust or dirt getting into the bearings. They can generally last for thousands of hours. Okay, then move on to linear rails. They can have higher tolerance than the POM wheels, holding everything in place. They look really neat. They do run on hardened rails, but they're little metal round balls inside of the carriage that are subject to wear over time. I've heard from a couple of the people that I support that do print farms that if you get into any of the more abrasive filaments, the dust collects on those linear rails and can destroy the motion way sooner than one would want. So their exposed wheels are a con. The pros is they have a little less resistance to motion, so you can move faster, right? So that's a pro that we can go with on those. One of the cons is we've lost the dampening that we got from those rubber tires, right? So unless you introduce some sort of vibration dampener between the carriage and the hot end or something of that ilk, they can actually project some of the machine's noise through the hot end into the print finishes. And we're talking microscopic things here, but it does make a difference. So I can't say that one is greatly better than the other, but I figured it'd be good to educate the community for those new people that are coming in, especially as to why you might want to get one model over the other. And there's a sub discussion to this in the linear rails between round linear rails and square linear rails as to tolerance and things or whatever, but that's for another day.
Yeah, so one thing very interesting is like if like we apply linear rails on a printer, so most likely we will apply it on x axis, like for y and z, and probably people still like using uh the wells.
Yeah.
And
POM.
yeah, so if for example, like Emblab A1, they applied the linear rail on the x-axis, but not on the y. That's what I noticed. And Reality Industry V3 KE, they applied it on the x-axis, but I'm not quite sure if one on y or z. So
If I'm waiting for mine to arrive, I'll let you know when it comes in, whether it has them on the wire or not.
I saw some post in a official user group. Some people complain that the port is not easy to broke. Actually, I know from our the home wheel can use at least 6 months or 2 years. It's no problem. And although some people like the linear wheels, but actually in the SVO6 group, still there are still some people think linear wheel can make some noise when used for broadcast. And the lubricating oil is a necessity. So I think there is no perfect part for a machine. If you choose one, and then will bring some.
I did intentionally leave out one thing that's not subject to these things. The new ones that the PO Poly is using, it's floating on the shuttle floats on magnets, so there's no friction. So those ones are probably the next level up, but you're talking 10 times the cost for a
yeah,
type of setup like that, and you'll
the
pay for it
name
accordingly.
X, I think, is a machine.
There's a technical name for those magnetic floating ones. I don't know it off the top of my head, but the technology's there. And over time, if more people demand that and we make more of them, it'll cost less and they'll work their way into the product lines.
probably we can bring the cost down by mass production and widely apply on newer 3D printers, but I don't know if that is way to go.
Yeah. So, do we want to talk a little bit about wheel adjustment? Bubba Burke had a comment. It says the wheels, when misadjusted, could also cause excessive wear. I've seen the print each slightly rotate as a result and not flat to the leveled surface. So, yeah. So the not flat thing is the X gantry leveling. That's less POM wheel and more the cross beam leveling, but it is part of it. You can over tighten the eccentric wheels, which will cause that extra resistance, which will cause the stepper motors to get hotter because it's pushing against more force. For an easy way to tell if you have a POM machine and it gets a little time off every now and then, if it sits for more than about 2 or 3 hours, and with the stepper motors off, you slowly move the axis. If it feels like a flat tire where it goes womp, 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 that means that your eccentric wheel is adjusted too tight. Now, that doesn't mean that the wheel is permanently out of round. They have a memory to them. So once you readjust it, over time, it'll go back to being perfectly round. So don't think just because you got the womp, womp, womp going on that your wheel's toast. The only time it's a toast when it does that is I've seen on a rare occasion that an over tightened one over time, they'll blow a chunk out of the side of it. You'll be able to see that, and then you know you need to replace the wheel. But that's pretty infrequent. But that's a good way to tell when your machine's cold is if you're adjusted properly. If you feel that thump, thump, thump when you move the axis slowly, you'll know that you're just a little too tight on your adjustment.
Look, I may have a question here, and I think there also a survey that about the linear rods. So, what do you think about these three? Yeah.
So the linear rods instead of rails,
Yeah, since
they're really subjected to tolerance more so with the linear rods. That was one of my initial feedbacks when I was beta testing for you on the SVO6 was the first set that we tested had a lower tolerance set of bearings on it. And my feedback to you was to go to a tighter tolerance, which I believe you did in final production. But yeah, so that's the only real difference with the round ones. One is the tolerance is multi-directional instead of like the squares that can't tip as much. But I do think that they're a little easier to lubricate, so that's probably a positive for those. So there's a back and forth going on there.
Yeah, as literally we have some a research post that in the group about the upgrade of the SVO6. So people, so many people just post their opinions, and the most top three is the linear rods. They think we need to use a better one if we will upgrade this model, but not change the structure, and also the fan, and also the other stuff. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, they're always upset about the sound of the fan. I don't know how it projects in final cost, but I know that the cost to me for a ball bearing fan versus the ones that are traditionally sent from the factory, which are the brushless ones. You know, it cost me twice as much to buy the aftermarket ball bearing fans as the brushless. Is basically what it is. I don't know what that would convert to at point of sale stuff, but one of the things, and I'm not being an apologist for you guys, but the people in the community have to understand that they demand low cost, low cost, low cost, but then as we start adding back these tighter tolerance bearings, we go to the higher quality fans. These things will start moving that cost back up to scale again. This is sort of happening through the industry. We've hit the bottom of how low can you go, and now they want features to add back, and that's going to slowly bring the cost back up a little bit. But they'll get what they're asking for, so you know, you can ask for it. Just know that it's going to cost you a little bit more upfront.
Yeah, we are debating inside that the new upgrade of the SVO6 that it as you just said it will a big improve and more cost and or just yeah no more upgrade. And people just told us that like the filament power
Right on.
it should be of a filament run out detector the yeah the better linear rods and bearings and then what the third one? Third one should be the fun the better fun compared to before. So well, we still discuss inside, but I just want to hear your thoughts. But you already
Yeah,
told us, yeah.
yeah, I sort of agree. I I mean, if you can go to the ball bearing fans without too big of a hit or whatever, that would get you a lot more referral cred, I think, in the community, especially if people really notice the sound difference. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, and then I don't know what your cost per unit is on increasing the tolerance of the bearings on the linear rails. That obviously can be a little or a lot depending on the cost. I don't know what the cost goes as the grade goes higher on the.
Yeah, yeah, understand. So maybe we go in the next topic or yeah, Melody. Yeah.
Show some comments. Thank you so much for showing everything. And such a nice balance. Also, comment. Thanks for your feedback, Harry. So the live stream has a tab. Okay, sorry for my spell.
So it's
I will change the title when we end of live stream.
okay.
Yeah, of course.
Hello.
Yeah, we're all human.
Yeah.
Actually, I just copy this from Lucas' message.
Thanks for
Yeah.
the best driver. I think it also been some gift from our event so in my area, right? Thanks for your feedback, guys.
Yeah, those that are watching that aren't familiar with the Soval filament, I've got to test the 2-color and 3-color filaments. The 3-color filaments have been a huge success for all of my friends. I did a bunch of the articulated dragons and the 3-color filaments, and they just are on another level for what it looks like with the silk and tricolors. Definitely worth checking out.
It's great here. Yeah,
Green
Yeah.
forest.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
So let's go to next part. SVO 7 and SVO 7 plus Klipper updates problem.
So I will just start this topic that since I think before Christmas, our community admin Aurora are sending me a message that he talked about the lately there are more problem posts about the SVO 7 or 7 plus. The main thing is about the firmware or update since the Clipper itself is continue to update. Yeah, but there is some people they encounter some problems. It's maybe it's our the bug of our modified firmware, or it's just the uh, new the problem of the new version. But temporarily, we are still identifying the problem, and this lead to the old situation that I think happened to the industry type printers that since it's open source, some people will just mess around with firmware stuff, the code, and then when they encounter some problems, they go back to to us for help, and then at that point, from the sales perspective, it's already breaks the warranty. But on the other side, we do sell the customers a printer and we do open source it. So at some point, we need to responsible for the problem solving. So I just want to hear some thoughts from Luke first, then I will continue. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where we were really going to have to lean into uh, the places where we're interacting with the open source. So the GitHub requests for repairs on Marlin. I don't know where Klipper is hosted at, but the Klipper main trunk editing, and then I'm having a drawing a blank. Where's that place that everybody else goes to talk about stuff all the time? I don't end up going there because I know what I'm doing. But anyhow, we need to come up with a message board or something where specific complaints as to the manufacturer's code, not to it won't work with XYZ plugin. We just need to give them a place, an email, something that they can say, hey, I have this very particular problem when this happens, when X happens, the machine locks up or whatever, and give them a chance to fix that. But as far as if somebody in main Klipper adds on other things that you're not able to work out without a lot of trouble, that's once you um, unlock the firmware as it is, it's on you to work your way out of that. Reddit. Yeah, Reddit's the other place. Thank you, Sean. Sorry, I don't go there very much, so I don't have it memorized. But Reddit is a very good place. I do send people to Reddit when they're deep diving into problems that I can't help.
Yeah. Yeah. I think since just I think the Tuesday this week, the multi color manufacturer or company or brand that co-print just invited, I think by Rongpeng, and we talk about that because their system is totally built on Klipper. So I also asked the question to them if later if we cooperate, the people update the firmware stuff and then have some problems, and what they would do. They said it just technically it just bug and the bug could be fixed. So I think
Yeah.
all right, all right, yeah.
Yeah, it's just priming the system. Once we have a Reddit or a place to land them, we probably ought to. I can help out in the Facebook groups. We can pin a post with either the hyperlink to where to go or something like that. I think we can improve on doing stuff like that, so we can add that to our lessons learned or things to act on later. So basically, providing the information on where to go if you have a bug, I think would be our next step, and then we'll work through the who has the tools with Klipper, either your software engineers or who you're contracting with, or somebody in the Klipper community, then working on the bug fix.
Yeah. I wonder is any thoughts, Rongpeng?
So, um, I don't know much about Klipper. I just know we provide the configuration file, like kind of stuff. If they have problem with the CFG file when they updated the firmware. I don't know if that is related to our configuration file or the or other part of the Klipper. Like if it's a configuration file, we can fix it, and of course helps the community to like keep it working. But is if that is not our part, um, I don't know if we can do anything about it.
Yeah,
So
I think you have it right. You're responsible for having a good core config file available. I will tell you
yep.
that I've been dealing with some stuff, not with just you, but with other vendors, and with some of the older printers, they've dropped some of their original firmware as the reference volumes or whatever, and over time that creates problems for people recovering. So um, as much as you want to keep it clean, I would highly suggest that we keep a like if you make a change to the config file, leave the old one there, put a note on it that says, "Hey, we had a bug fix, and this is the next one." But that'll allow somebody else that maybe needs back at that other level to get in there and access it before they move on to other things. Long term.
Okay, so we need to like have a link to our old versions of the configuration file just in case people need to refresh it back to the old versions.
Yeah. Yeah, you can put it up and you can put a note that says this is the older version,
Yeah.
or whatever known issues are with it. But just having that resource available can
Yeah.
sometimes help people that aren't aren't in the modding community that can just go to GitHub and grab what they want and recover from things.
Yeah. I think if I need final this topic is that I hope that the customer will satisfy with our solution if we because they update themselves. But when they get back as we just said, the better way to solve it is to go back the old version. I hope they understand this. But rather
Right.
just saying you just fix this bug for me. I will not go back. This will
Yeah.
be a situation.
Yeah.
We are
And there
now
are times when it'll
replacing. Yeah.
yeah, there will be times when it is better to go to the newer versions, but there are going to be instances where it's just better to go to the old one for whatever reason.
Yeah. Of course. So do you have any thoughts on this one?
I think for Comgrow, we have did the same thing. Like we update the old version onto our official website, and we send the notice to our Facebook group. But not everyone can see or check the message. So I think the better way to slow this is to confirm the firmware is well done. Then we told people to upgrade that to the new version, I think.
Yeah, and part of so not to pick on Comgrow, but you're newer in the game. I know you have different versions for the laser products, but part of what we run into long term, having been around for the game for a little bit, is over time there'll be different motherboards or chipsets put in printers, different features are added in later models or whatever, and then you end up with this patchwork of going back in time to find out, 2 years from now, what printer you had with what chipset and what things, and all that information I'm talking about in that archive, as it were, of the old configs, help put that puzzle together. Damien's volunteering to be a Klipper screen bug fix tester. There is something to be said about that. One of the biggest problems that Crowdy had was with the touchscreens on the Ender 5 Plus and it being locked down for all the backside stuff being put into Marlin. I know one guy made more progress on that than some others, and at those that couldn't get there, they just told them to switch out the screens. But those touch screens, if they're not, all the information isn't available, they can be very what am I saying? They can be very onerous in trying to get them to run right.
Someone to keep stuff so set up through. So the latest news capture the open source field for SV7 class is ready, right? And I think maybe we will be upload to the GitHub or our official website in the
Yeah.
but I think maybe we will come across a big problem. When I was training, when I get the open source field, it is easy for me to modify or change something. They also will be easy to have some trouble.
You just flashback to the version, like yeah. That's why.
The more step you modify, should difficulty have, and that's hard for the engineer to troubleshoot.
Like if the upgrade
When
says if they are upgrading without our accessories, like it's not some official upgrade, I don't think we have energy for every customer,
Yeah.
to
when I deal with some after sales problem and I got some people that
Yeah.
have some problem when after they modify the machine by themselves and the engineer gives some troubleshoot step for them, but it's hard to. It needs to spend a lot of attention. So we will got some more after sale problem.
Sure we will. But it depends if we have the energy for to help our customers. But I wish we will.
Yeah, I think to finalize the topic is that that's why we will just talk about this here, and also I think with the community's help. Yeah, because we not only follow the warranty, but also yes, that's why we just have Luke and also the Rory and other people to help, which compensate things out of warranty. Yeah.
So can you throw up the comment from the Facebook user, the one that starts out with "please" spelled out really long? Just put it on the screen. All right. Well, they're bringing it up, so I'll read it. So it says, that wasn't one. There we go. It says, please fix the X-axis tramming system on the SV06, XV06 Plus. Please and thank you. So I understand where you're coming from. The way that it is set up is it's set up to mechanically run into stops to force the stepper motors to bring it in sync. The best thing you can do is not use the electronic version to do that. Raise the bridge up close to the top where you haven't run into it. Turn the stepper motors off and just by hand manually run them both up against the stop and then engage the steppers again. They'll be perfectly in sync. You won't break the little plastic parts they run into. And I don't know that we have the right code in the the right chipset and stepper drivers for it to be able to sense the stopping, and that's why it's ramming it too hard and causing problems. So I know that that's not a push button fix, but if you do that, it really won't damage the machine, and it'll get synced up really well.
I think you may also, if you still not have, as Lucas has mentioned, maybe some kind of suggestions, but if you still have any problems, you may reach to Melody or Cecilia on Facebook. It's our admin team of the company. So you can send your that problem and we can deal with that and protect you.
Yeah, I actually had to repair my beta testing unit because it broke one of the brackets when it went to self test. That was fed back in my engineering report, but it's a tough one to pull off.
What? Look, do you think so? The fix of the SW6 sounds like you need to use full-time interrupts.
Yeah. You're asking it to do the sensorless homing like other people do with their stuff, and I would suppose if you have the right code and those stepper drivers will work for it, you could. But that programming is not my forte, so I'm gonna stick to my lane. I'll give you the manual override, and then they can fix that part. Um,
We didn't have where the Comgroup, yeah, like yeah. So about Comgroup updating their logo, like so it's a letter A in green. So it's a letter A in green. I always thought like it's an arrow, like so it proved it's not an arrow, it's an A, and they have raised up like 5 core product concepts for their like future trends of their products. Is useful, smart, affordable, uh, enjoyable, and versatile. So
Creative was like
do we have an image of the new logo? I haven't even seen it.
uh, you haven't even seen that. So like you can just search
Right.
creality in
Right.
YouTube and you can see their new logo, and
All right. I'll check it
actually
out.
on any platform, like in any platform they have updated their logo.
Okay.
So
and creative was black and white in my
yeah,
and then they tend to green
yeah, yeah.
just
So
later
green,
out of my elements.
so green
Oh,
is basically
I thought you were talking
like
about Comgrow changing their thing. I'd seen the
no. Sorry, creality,
yeah.
creality is so
Yeah, they didn't even tell me why they were doing that or whatever. I just noticed when I logged in it looks different.
like the green A means like it's eco-friendly, of course, and A means they are the A class of the industry, and like the 5 core value of their brand: useful, smart, affordable, versatile, and enjoyable. So I didn't see any word like advanced or speed or high tech kind of stuff. They're just like uh, they are building more usable printers like industry kind of stuff.
K1 Max. They're pushing in the K1 and the K1 Max to be part of the plug and play crowd,
Yeah.
which is a tough nut to crack. I hear a lot of people say that like the bamboos are all plug and play. Yet I see tons of people that have had troubles with setup on them or whatever, and they're mechanical devices. Not everyone's going to be perfect, but I do like the trend that everybody's trying to make it easier for the new user experience. I've made a reputation for helping the new users get up to speed, and the easier the machines are, the less work it is for me. So it's a win-win for me. Not that I
So
don't mind what I'm doing, but
yeah, but I wonder if Creality is like encouraged to build more printers like K1 or K1 Max because their 5 new concepts doesn't mention anything like advanced or they gonna invest in new tech kind of stuff. So that worries me because we are one of their resellers.
right.
I totally agree with you, Brian. And I want to add something.
She needs to hold the mic up. We can't hear her.
Oh, the mic.
Brian says I generally dislike logo change because then I have to get used to the new things. I totally agree with you. And I want to add that could you please reply my Twitter message, please?
I think Brian heard you like from the beginning of this stream. So yeah, of course he
So,
will.
so you need Brian to reply to you on Twitter? Is that what I'm reading between the lines here? Yeah. All right.
Because so faster. Well, I haven't do any.
Evidently, Brian
I-
doesn't follow his messages on Twitter.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I haven't done Twitter and some of the other things. Facebook or bust because I can only handle one. Some of the people don't get it.
Brian.
I admin or co-admin over 60 groups just in 3D printing, along with another 20 fishing groups. So
60
I got my
group.
plate full.
Yeah.
Logos change.
He's saying if the product's bad, it doesn't matter what you do with your logo. I
Yeah.
think that was a little shot at Crowdy. They have their winners and their losers, just like all the brands, for sure.
Like probably Creality is like more focused on affordable printers. Like they probably still gonna invest more on their i3 structured printers.
They don't want to compare with them.
Not sure. Not sure. Like BAMLab, they have bring up the overall like price for the 3D printer industry, but I don't know what's Creality strategy, but they are competing
Not
over
not to pick on them, but they're in English we call it floundering.
around.
They're trying to find their new path, right? They're not sure where to go, and where some of us old codgers in the community are scratching our head is not that we're trying to make everything obsolescent, but they maintain so many different lines that compete with themselves. I think it'd be better if they take their winners and slowly over time make an announcement and drop the ones that they're just doing because they've done them forever, and and that would serve them well as long as they're giving the customers what they want with these newer revisions or whatever newer models as they go. Yeah, printer of the month club. Yeah, they're really good at turning out new models, and I don't want to kick them in the teeth because I still work with them as well. But the honestly, the new the new Ender 3 V3 SE. You got to have a guidebook to make your way through all the different model numbers or whatever. They're retailing at 179. It's probably price to value pretty competitive with your SV06, but not Klipper. I will point that out. And it's a great model, but they're still making the base Ender 3s. We don't need base Ender 3s or Ender 3 Pros or any of that anymore. I mean, really. I mean, yeah, make sure that you have products available through the resellers for repairing them or whatever. But I don't know. We've
Yeah.
moved on from that, right?
Yeah, actually, Creative was one of the pioneers that stepped in the plug and play 3D printer field, like for the Sermon series, like they got Sermon D1 and their Sermon V1, and I
The,
think it's quite pity that they didn't have Klipper back in the day they released these plug and play
yeah,
machines, and
yeah.
they
The
yeah
Sermon D1 and D1 Pro. Yeah, they didn't have that. They had the same issue that Bamboo had with the turning the filament down into the hot end, which is what I give them in my engineering report on it. And like you said, it didn't have the faster processors and stuff to
yeah
really make it what it could be. Because other than that, it's a great printer. The
yeah
sermons are.
yeah. I used the Sermon D1 for more than 1 year, and it didn't give me like too many surprise. I would say it did give
Yeah,
me some skeptics, but yeah, overall it's a good printer.
the biggest issue that one had, and I tried to warn them at my beta testing stage, was they had captured PTFE inside the hot end, but they didn't tell anybody about it, and they were cutting it like 0.1 millimeters too short at the factory, so it was built in with a filament gap that was causing slight under extrusion. It was captured, so it just stayed that way. But anybody that has one and hears this video, go on to Thingiverse. I have a cut guide to print to make a longer, correct length of PTFE to put up inside of the hot end, and it'll work a lot better. It's a booger to get the piece out. You have to take the nozzle off and use like a drywall screw to screw into the PTFE and pull it down out of there. But once you get it out and get a right length piece in there, it'll work 100% better than what it does right now. But yeah.
If everyone need, you can check out the Thingiverse of Luke.
I'm for those that need to know, I'll type it into the thing or whatever. But I'm L3D underscore help underscore guide on Thingiverse.
Few days ago, most
But yeah,
Yes.
information,
Name of the next machine.
and then I thought the
Yeah,
then
that's the next machine of Sovo. But yeah,
then he told me, it's okay, just don't write creative. But your name, give your machine name to the machine. It's too
yeah, it's too overcomplicated, but they are like quite the same thing, like variant of industry, like
sorry, I'm in the background. Somebody asked for a link to that thing or whatever, so I figured I'd dig it up real quick.
oh, someone ask any link, like
on the floor. I think I show
Someone say hi, Ben.
Oh,
Someone say hi, Ben.
hi. I mean, need to know who. Oh, so, oh, it's our old friend. Maybe look familiar with the. You may just yeah. So, yeah, the fiber experiment. Yeah, I think maybe look familiar with him or right. As a very old loyal customer of quality, right? Yeah. Just nice to meet you here as well. Yeah.
Oh, it's Henry.
I'm back.
So the next
The first topic is 3D print with recycled garbage.
So hi, Luke. I used to. Okay, okay. This is the first time I attend the roundtable discussion. So my name is Alex. My name is Alex, and I manage the social media of the Congro. And I think today is the first conversation between you and me. So I have a question about the usage of the recycled garbage. Cause when I bring those big project, they usually need lots of support. But after printed, those support are wasted. So my question is, do you have any suggestion for me or the users like us to deal with those uh, wasted flavor? Because we don't have the professional equipment to do with that.
Honestly, from what I've seen in the community, the people doing the neatest things with it are setting up some sort of silicone mold or other molds and melting it down to make things like, let's say, a plate or some utilitarian thing where you basically use an oven to heat and melt the plastic into a mold to become something else. That's the no tools, not printed option to turn it into something other than landfill waste.
Yeah, probably recycling the supports like cost too much. Like you can buy a a brand new one. It I don't know if
Thank you, Brian, for putting that link in. I don't know why it wouldn't let me post it up.
Actually, my think of future is to use those wasted support part to make some new works, just to reuse that and do some handwork. And just wondering if you have heard the word which is called the greenwash. Because I found that some company they just said that they use those garbage to make the new filament. They just mix the uh, garbage with the PLA or some other material, and I found that the price of those materials much more expensive than the common one. So, what is your opinion about that?
So I'm not an expert on the recycling thing. I know that there's a filament um company here in Vancouver where I live, and they recycle a lot of their bad lots that don't. They either have dimensional issues or other things, and they use add fresh pellets with the old stuff to make more utility materials. And I think that's from a manufacturer standpoint, that's a good thing because otherwise they're just throwing their stuff in the landfill. Um, I haven't heard of anybody really bringing in outside plastics for recycling. I've seen some people playing around with those machines that'll actually cut a ribbon out the side of a PET, which is a your normal water bottles are made out of PET, so it doesn't have the the glycol modifier. But people are making filament out of that pretty well now with an open source rebuilding thing. But it's also pretty short in length. I guess somebody needs to come up with a decent filament welder to weld all those short lengths together. That'll be more useful. But right now, it's all boutique stuff, very time intensive, or you got to have everything just right. Um, so CNC Kitchen, he's probably done the best of all the YouTubers that I've personally witnessed as far as getting a hold of machines and recycling it back into material or whatever. And um, other than the commercial type ones he's worked with or whatever, it seems like it's I don't want to say a fool's errand, but it's a hard stretch to come up with usable materials without putting a lot of time and effort into it.
Yeah. So do you think like we need some device in our home that can recycle the supports or the waste? Probably no. It's the manufacturer's thing. Like
I would imagine if there was, so it's a cost negative thing, right? So I
yeah,
would imagine if you had some manufacturers that were willing to work with the community, where you could basically fill a box full of your junk plastic and send it to them for freight or whatever, they could reincorporate it, but the cost on it would be more than what raw
yeah,
materials cost, right? So that's why I don't think anybody's really jumped on that bandwagon. Uh,
yeah. So
and
I
I don't know where it's going to go. Like as a people, so get outside of the 3D printing company. Look at all the plastic waste that goes into our garbage from food containers and stuff like that. I think the real winners in that game is going to be if somebody can come up with a process to um, chop up and just process plastic and isolate out the different polymers in some sort of fashion. But we're a long ways out from that at the moment.
so I'm kind into this question because I'm a Bamblab user. So so Bamblab, if you like use multi material, they will like poop. So I now call my A1 like Bamboo Lab A1. So
The bamboo machine.
yeah, bamboo machine.
Yeah.
So like I print like 1 kilogram. I have to waste like more than 1 kilogram. So it's a poop like weighs more than 1 kilogram.
Yeah.
That's the situation I'm at. So I'm kind of interested in this question. Despite the colors of different filament, I do think Bamblab user might want a like recycling machine for their own.
Well,
Probably.
if you if you're if you want to sort of poke the bamboo community because of their little poop shoot thing and all the waste material they're getting in their purge blocks, suggest that they find, I think they have them on Amazon, find the big silicone mats that have the raised edge for like a work
Mhm.
area and
Yeah.
put that in your oven with your all your poop pieces or whatever, make a big cutting board for your fishing buddy or something, you know,
Mm.
something like that.
Yeah.
That would be useful.
I see Brian's comment. He said that just this one. He said that he found it difficult to print with banana peels and coffee grounds. Actually, I think that in in when I was in Australia and those professor in the university, they said that the banana peels and coffee grounds can be used to remake the flamen. But it's just the mixture of the those garbage and the original material of the flamen.
Yeah. Getting the fibers out of them, basically, I guess.
It
And
took
if we can do wood filled, if we did wood filled PLA, we could do banana filled PLA. So it smells like bananas while you print with it. That'd be something funny.
yeah, those so-called garbage need lots of money to do and to recycle, use again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I honestly, with the recycled material thing, I think the bigger win would be not to put it back into on the spool materials, but if somebody came up with a recycler that makes pellets, sort of like the pellet feed things do, then hook up with one of these colleges that's using a pellet extruder to make big boats or something like that, then you could recycle it and it'd probably work out pretty good. Probably be less subjective about the mixes of materials and stuff. Yeah, it's an issue that a lot of people struggle with, the move towards environmental cleanliness, and then we're creating stuff that, you know, ostensibly breaks down, biodegrades, but it could be like 50 years to break down. So you got to be realistic about what that is. This is where I make the argument for all the things that were broken that we're fixing with printers, and it's keeping other things from going in the landfill. So that's a carbon positive movement there.
For new article, which make me ready. And because I am currently responsible for the corporation, Silver Corporation, usually we will cooperate with some editor of some website and some creator of YouTube channel, and then we'll produce some review article or review video. I'm not sure about other companies or brands, but in our corporation, we do not impose any restriction or requirement on the content of editor and creator. That means they can create their content based on their own opinion and the experience of our machine. Usually, people have the habit of broaden the review article and the review video before choosing. Those content will have an important impact on users' decision. So, do you guys will go to find some review article or video to watch online before shopping, before you buy something new? Which one do you usually think is more correct? So, how about Ro? I know you have buy a pamphlet. You want
yeah, that's that's a negative side to be a brand promotion, because you watch other brands advertisements and you they can got you, they can transform you into their customer. If Yeah, I have to say their printers are good. Like it's uh yeah, so printers are Hamburg are good too. So yeah, I have to say that.
I,
So
I will say, from my point of view, I like that your policy is to not coerce those creating content. People that are watching reviews, they understand those people that are doing it for money, and then they understand those that are doing it for the experience, and those that are being coerced. And as long as they're not being coerced, they'll take out of it what they want. There's been plenty of models that came out from your competitor Creality that, started out sort of not great, but with feedback from those people or whatever, they became better printers, and people could see past the problems to see what they wanted, right? Or see that it was worth it. But honesty is the best policy as far as that goes. And by not manipulating the people that you select to do your reviews, that's the best thing that you can do as a company.
Yeah, I think what Ron just said about bamboo and sowa is the most reluctant answer I ever heard. Okay, so yeah, I would say that of course bamboo is maybe is the best, maybe not the one of the best, it's the best. So we have a lot of things to learn from them. Yeah, and so we are,
I'm gonna hold you back on that one. There's lots of bamboo people that are running around with printers that have lots of problems they're working through right now. So they're selling hot right now, but they are not necessarily the best long term.
yeah.
So we're all clear on that.
Yeah, so talking about that I think so we'll need to find our own segmentation here. Yeah, they do it is the best from the every side as far as of course there are some unhappy customers that's like so of course and about marketing stuff since I do this for a long time and actually talking about the marketing stuff that people who will what will they live or truly believe I think except especially bamboo they are doing I think they are invest a lot of money on the marketing even their product is really good and
Yeah.
like there are so many reviews and I even see some posts I think before the A1 release like the 3P nerd and other big YouTubers said that yeah so but what I want to say is not that they're 14 or 40 but they even mentioned that even they think it's good but it's do not just buy it blindly even it's a
Right.
hip. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's sort of the end thing, as it were. But and not to be wrong, don't get me wrong. I think bamboo's helping the community at all push towards a bigger goal, right? And I think that's good. And while we're on the topic of that, um, the people in the chat aren't privy to it, but I've been having some conversations with Ropang. I hope I said your name right in the Soval community group, or sorry, Soval admin group, talking about what's coming up with some of their new products or whatever, and they're really leaning into wanting to do the right thing with the community as far as open source and all that stuff. So I want to applaud that you're taking the time to do that because it's the right thing to do. It will serve you well long term, especially as you enter a market that already has some established competition in it without spoiling what market you're in.
Yeah. So yeah I think I think this question should be answered by some people who do not have 3 printers. What they will do first? So because we are so familiar with this, back to Melody's question. I don't. Yeah.
Even though you don't have a 3D printer, but
Yeah.
you buy some other product,
Yeah.
you will also to find some new video or article before buying this
Yeah.
product.
I think there is the most right person to answer this. I think yeah, Alex, because he's the when he before he joined the company, when he studying in college, he buy some printers. I think you are the guys to answer why you buy it and how you buy buy the printers. Yeah.
So firstly, let me answer Melody's question. For me, with the article and video, I think for those more professional people, the article maybe is the better choice for them because
I mean, sorry to jump in, but maybe you say first what printers you have, and then you explain why how you buy.
okay,
Yeah.
my printer, I have two printer. One printer is the N3 and the other is the Warm
And
D1.
Okay.
Yep.
So
It sort of broke up on our end. So it's the Ender 3 and the Sermon D1.
Yeah. Yep. The N3 is the first printer I got because the price is much cheaper, and I don't want to spend too much money to. Yeah. on the sim that I didn't know well, but after using like 1 year, some problem occurred on the extruder, and I tried to repair it by myself. Then I mess it up, so I buy a new one.
Yeah.
Also, I'm really interested in those mechanics thing. When something break, I try to repair it myself. I even try to repair my own mobile phone, and the same results. So those two is what I got. And to answer Maddie's question, I think to see the review article, because those words and those data about the machine are all on the page, and you know that well when you see those like number, like name, or some other things, you can decide by yourself. Those words are operate in your brain, and you can realize that. But for the beginner, I think watch the video can help them to realize or know the machine better, because the video maker, they just perform the using experience for those user. That is what I think. Yeah, just in word, for those beginner, I think the video is better, and for those pro or expert, I think to see the article is a good choice. Yeah.
Have you remembered the article or the video you have seen from which channel or which website?
I will guess Chuck. Chuck. Yeah.
Maybe
EP Chuck. Like he's like the king of the ender. Probably.
Actually, I just searched some affordable 3D printer on Google, and what they show me is the Ender 3, so I choose it. Price is not expensive, and I just want to have a try first, so I choose it.
We're going to celebrate that didn't tell you to buy the ANET A8, because that could have ruined you. A lot of people still end up buying those or whatever, and it's a nightmare experience for those that are uninitiated.
Oh, that should be the early days that I don't even experience, but I'll tell you something that interesting, that actually before I joined the karate or solo, that I think 5 years ago, I do have to have some job interview to that company. Yeah, and finally I decided to join karate. Not I even also interviewed with Andy Kubik.
I sort of feel
Yeah.
I sort of feel bad for ANET, because they later on they started doing better stuff, but their
Uh-huh.
their inattention to the electrical shock hazard and fire hazards in their firmware early on gave them such a bad reputation that it was sort of a death knell
Yeah,
to them long term.
yes. Yeah, I think 5 or 6 years ago that Anit maybe should be the number one, more or less. I don't know.
They 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 were they were as popular as the Ender 3 before the Ender 3 existed,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
you could buy the
Yeah,
parts
so
kits for, I think the parts kits were what, $160 or something like that, which at that time was really inexpensive. That was
so
before you could go to Micro Center and get an Ender 3
yeah,
Pro for $99.99, which still blows my mind,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I
So
won't even selling used printers. I still sell a set up and well running Ender 3 Pro for $100, whether they got it from there or whatever, because it's running and it's working. That's part of its value.
yeah, so that's why so many customer, the customer like you said, this is all the 2023 is maybe the best year. Yes, come a long way. That the printer, the people, the printer is improve a lot again and compete with each other. and the final result is good for customers. Not something similar every year or every month. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, not that we're picking favorites here or whatever, but for all the other manufacturers compared to Creality, they're behind the eight ball because they have the volume and the resources to be able to put out a new printer every other month or whatever, right? So it really puts the onus on you guys to get it right for what you're doing. And I think you guys are plugging away at it pretty well. And not everything is going to be perfect, but you're working your way towards it. And enjoying my time with you guys as you explore your new products and solidify the ones that you already have. Yeah, the paper on the acrylic panels or whatever was crazy. I got a used one from a guy, and I think I spent 6 hours just removing the paper off of the acrylic before I spent another couple hours straightening out the train wreck that was the printer because it was already running. But the guy had taken the heat sink fan off. I didn't even know what a heat sink fan was, and done some other things to it. So I got a lesson in heat creep and a bunch of other stuff early on, and then it was off and running from there. But anyhow.
And according to the research information I found, a lot of people think that the review article is more credible than. And when it comes to the influence of the YouTube creator on people's chosen decision, there are some data showing their importance. According to the survey, more than 70% of viewers said they were influenced by YouTube creator when they make some order, and more than 16% people said they more likely trust the product review video on YouTube than traditional ads. Additionally, many brands have realized the influence of YouTube creator and choose to partner with them to promote their products and service. That shows that YouTube creators play an important role in people's choosing decision. So I just want to know which channel, which creator you guys will open to watch.
Maybe look at some.
Yeah.
Share if you really what do you trust?
So there's trust, and then there's volume of people reached, right? And there's two different halves to that coin. And I have to profess that as much as I spend a lot of time watching YouTube, I do not watch a ton of 3D printer content because I print all the time and I do all the other print things, right? That being said, the two biggest audience catchers, I think, well, let's take it up to 4. So probably the biggest 4 in my book, from my perspective, would be 3D printing nerd. He's developed an audience and a business. For those that are watching his content, this is not a dig at him, but he's a pay to play. You're not going to get him to review your printer unless you pay him to do it, and that's his business model, and that's his way of doing things, right? So it is what it is. Then you have Maker's Muse. I respect him a lot. He's had a couple small misses, in my opinion, on a couple of things, but generally he's pretty good. Tom Sandelar, his channel is pretty well revered for good content. And then Stefan with CNC Kitchen, he'd be another one, but I really respect his opinion. That being said, a lot of those guys are not the fix them, make them better guys. They're just does it work when it get there guys, right? Like I was hollering at the screen when Maker's Muse did one of his Ender 3 reviews because he was having an under extrusion problem, and I'm like, all you got to do is do my 3D printing fix. It takes 30 minutes to print it, and it'll work perfect. But he hadn't found it, right? So he was dealing with under extrusion, which was just as PTFE tubing had pulled away from the nozzle or whatever. Yeah, Ivan Miranda does some pretty neat things with the gigantic printer projects for sure.
Yeah.
But he hasn't done a whole lot of like review the equipment stuff. That's why I didn't add him to the list. But definitely has some experience with printing large prints with large nozzles for sure. And he's got a big audience too, right? So he'd be somebody who could get you audience. I don't know how well he'd get you sales audience, but yeah. But yeah, those are the people that come off the top of my head. Shep has long time been respected in the community. He does some good stuff. The 3D printing professor, people trust him for his opinions on printers. He's not afraid to be critical of the printers in his reviews. So some people like that, but for whatever reason, he hasn't built as big of an audience as some of the other big players in the game. I think that goes down to just how people's personalities match up with the person given the content. But yeah, and I'm sure there's
I
some
want
other.
to.
I don't. And hey, Brian, you're doing great work. Or whatever part of what I want to talk to you about is maybe doing some video co-ops with you or whatever. And I trust the review from Brian too, but he's just doesn't have that as big of an audience as some of the other people that we're discussing today. Not that he can't over time, because he does really good work.
Yeah, we got a very, very long list of
Yeah.
the trusted YouTubers. So I also want to add Aurora.
Oh yeah, she does really detailed stuff. I feel bad that I left her out of the list, and she's an up and comer. She's very young, isn't she? She's like 16 or 17 now, something like
No,
that. Sir and her brother.
she's in her like first senior high or high school. High school, yeah.
Right, so she's 16 or 17 years old, I think. I could be wrong, but she's not 20 for sure. But
I think
her and her brother are doing really good stuff with her reviews. I don't know how big her audience is and how well she sells products for people, but yeah, I've gone in and looked at some of her stuff just because she does such a thorough job in her format for testing printers, for sure.
Yeah. And anyone to add? Anyone?
How about the next name?
The next day, Jonathan. Yeah. Our old friend. Of course, we should include Jonathan.
I think I mean add someone. Maybe he's not the most trusted, but the one is RC Life on. He maybe quit a little bit, but I think 3-4 years ago, his project video is really, I think maybe really get some new people. Some people even do not ever know 3D printer, desktop 3D printing, but they kind of know 3D. I think inspire them the interest.
Yeah, he had some really cool projects that he did there for a while, and I don't remember all the printers he had, but he had a couple of Creality printers and some other printers he was running. I think he had a JG maker and some other stuff, but yeah, he had some good stuff. He did really interesting things with what he made with them, for sure.
Yeah.
And you guys can tag the name of the YouTube channel you often watch on the comments, and if we have chance, maybe to collaborate with the creator. Future. Okay.
Anyway, let me just finish here. Yeah.
And if you guys have any question, you can contact us. You can contact Melody or Cecilia on Facebook.
Yeah.
And,
So
we gonna end up.
yeah, thank you so much for everybody watching till now, and thank you, Luke, to join us again, and thank you all the colleagues here share their topic. Yeah, so hope you enjoy the show. Yeah,
It's always my pleasure, and for those out there, there's a ton of support in the Facebook groups. You don't have to be an avid Facebooker to hop in there and get help. And one of the nice things about that is we have people from generally all the different time zones, so you can essentially get 24-hour tech support even when the staff from Soval isn't available. So don't be bashful to ask questions. We have a rule that people can't Google shame you. I actually had to kick a couple guys out recently with Christmas coming on, and they were
Okay.
Google shaming people, and I just sent them on their way because I don't even know if it was at Soval, but in one of the 60 groups that I admin, they were just throwing attitude around, and no stupid questions. Ask the questions you need, get the help you need. That's what the whole 3D community is about. I don't care what manufacturer you're working with.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, yeah. Yes, yes. Okay. So
And if you have any hot topic you want to chat with us, or maybe if you want to join our live stream, you can contact Malik at Cecilia, and you are welcome to speak out with us. And every Thursday morning, or every Wednesday evening, yeah, we will waiting for you on the live stream.
yeah, yeah. Okay. This is just bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a
Yeah.
good
Bye.
night.
Crying.
Yeah.
Bye.